Yeah. Okay, so let's start. Yeah. Fine. So we're up to the Mishnah. We're up to the Mishnah on what time is it? Kuf Yud Beis Amud Beis. Yeah. Okay, so this part of the daf is these next few daf is it's a little complicated, but it's more geschmack of than it's been previous. So Amar Rabbi Barcham, Zokting Mar, Amar Rabbi Barcham, Maishna Cheresh v'Chareshes. So again, in this whole long Mishnah that we did yesterday, so we're saying that a Cheresh and a Chareshes, that Asham, the Rabbanan said you could have marriage. Mid the Rabbanan is marriage. So Maishna Cheresh v'Chareshes, the Kinu Lu Rabbanan Nisuin. The Chacham said that you could make Nisuin, even though normally they can't get married because they don't consider it's considered as if they don't have das. But the Chacham made a takana they could get married. So how come for them you can get married? Umashna the shaita, but when people that are fools, right, or don't have mental capabilities, the light kinu lu rabbanan nasuin, Chachamim said that there's no marriage there. Meaning, if somebody goes and marries somebody who doesn't have their full mental capacity, then it's not a marriage. So how come by a deaf person they said it is, and by a deaf person they said yeah, and by a person who not mentally all they're not. Tanya shaitiv a katan shenasu nashim umesu, because we learned that he have a shait and a katan who married women and then they died without kids. So now do they do yibum or chalitza? So just to say, patura is min a chalitza min a yibum. Their wives are patur from chalitza and yibum. Right? If somebody says something, I want to make sure I didn't freeze.
I think you're a little choppy.
Yeah? Am I good? Going in and out? Okay.
You're coming in and out. Like 5 seconds there.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to call in. Hold on a second.
Enter your meeting ID.
Minchas now?
Yes. You have to go to Minchas. Enter your participant ID followed by pound. You are in the meeting now. There are 18 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You are muted. You can mute or unmute your meeting is being unmuted.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We started this up again. Is that it?
No. I'm just making sure. I'm doing it by phone and by video.
Ah, okay.
So like this, it won't go in and out. It's just the video. Are we good now?
I hear you clearly, Baruch Hashem.
Anybody else? Anybody on video can hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, Shaka, we hear you.
Okay, good.
Ravenna, basically you don't count, Ravenna.
Okay, I hope this will all be fixed tomorrow. But anyways, okay, so I'll start the Gemara again. So how come by deaf people, the Tekinu Lu Rabbanan Nisuin, that the Chacham said that if the deaf people get married, even though midaraisa they can't get married, but midarabbanan they can get married. The shaita v'shaita, the light Tekinu Lu Rabbanan Nisuin. That a shaita by shaita they were not masakin Nisuin. To Tanya shaita v'kant nothing nashim. So let's say a shaita and a kant get married and then they die. Just like saying to Turas min a chalitza min a yibum. There's no chalitza and there's no yibum. Right? So how can there be no chalitza and no yibum? So meaning not how. The reason is because there was never a marriage. So why for them is there no marriage, but for deaf people there is? So cheresh v'chareshes the kaima takanta the rabbanon. So cheresh and chareshes that it could be that they could have a normal marriage. Tekinu lu rabbanon nisuin. They were masakin nisuin. Shaita v'shaita the like kaima takanta the rabbanon. A shaita and a shaita. It's not possible to have a normal marriage. A person cannot live in a what do you call it? In a box with a nachash, with a snake. And so Mamela, it's not possible for a marriage to survive with shaitim. It is not possible for a marriage to survive with shaitim. So therefore, it's the Rabbanan said, "Lo tkinu Rabbanan nesuin." The Rabbanan will not masakin nesuin. So basically, what the Gemara is saying is that there's mental health is a problem for trying to stay married. And they can't. They can come and we're not going to be masakin a marriage like that, right? Most of the time, if you marriages that have problems, it's coming from mental health. I don't know if anybody's aware of that. What do you? The camera's not working. Maybe. Yeah. Good. Okay. Weiter. So then, umayshna katan. So let's kinu rabbanon nesuin b'cheres kinu rabbanon. So how come a katan they weren't masakin marriage, right? Marriage doesn't work for a katan, but it works for cheres. So it's a cheres the loyalty l'klal nesuin kinu rabbanon. If you're not going to let them get married, then they're never gonna. It'll never come to a deraisa dika marriage. So tkinu rabbanon nesuin, the rabbanon said they can be nesuin. Katan, the asu l'klal nesuin, like tkinu rabbanon nesuin, but a katan who will eventually be able to be married. So then the chachamim were not masakin, meaning let them wait. Why should a katan get married? Why should a katan get married? Let the katan wait till they become a gadol, and then they'll be okay. Right? So that's what it is. Then the Gemara says, ketana da'asis l'klal nesuin, but tekinu rabbanon nesuin. But you have a ketana. I'm sorry. I said ketana, meaning before we were talking about a katan, a male. Now we're talking about a ketana, right? So how come a ketana? We know that the ketana they were masakin nesuin, right? The tekinu rabbanon nesuin for the girl that lost her father, right? Her brother and her brothers and her mother can marry her off. Hefker. There, it's so that they shouldn't be noyeg hefker, right? Meaning if a girl's father dies, right? Who's gonna stop people from trying to be mizana and take advantage of her, right? So therefore they said, let's marry her off so that people won't have any problem with it. Okay, so my understanding want to ask, so mashna ketana. So how come a ketana can do miyan and how come a chareshes can't do miyan? Meaning, why can't the chareshes, if it's a derabbanan dika marriage, so why the rabbanan were mistaken that when the ketana gets married, he could walk out on the marriage, right? We had that a few times. How come they weren't mistaken that same thing for the chareshes, for the deaf, the imkain, or asked, and now we start today's daf, the imkain, mimnei v'loy nasfilo. What's going to happen is nobody's going to want to. Mimne means they're going to stop themselves. The loy nasbilo, they're not going to marry. They're not going to marry her. Who's going to want to marry her if they think? Meaning, as it is, a healthy person that's going to be marrying a deaf person, right, is going to be doing a big chesed if they do this, right? So if you're going to tell them, oh, by the way, you're going to do this chesed, and she can walk out on you, then that's not gonna. They're not gonna do this chesed, right? So therefore, they said no. That's why they said she cannot walk out. Then they're going to ask, "Umayshno ketana da'achlu betruma." How come a ketana could eat truma? Umayshno chareshes the loyal betruma. What about a chareshes who can't eat truma? Right, now, how do we know that somebody who's deaf can't eat truma? The Tanan, hey, Rav Yochanan ben Gudida ala chareshes shesiyavia. If you have a chareshes who her father married her off, right, meaning a regular, when she was a ketana, the father married her off. He has the right to marry her off. She yaitza beget that she can go out with a get, al ketana bas Yisrael, and on a ketana who's a bas Yisrael, shenisas l'kohen, that she's married to a kohen, shechelas b'truma, that she could eat truma. Right, so that's again the Mishnah. The order is very important in this Mishnah. Right, he says a chareshes that married that her father married off. She goes out. She can go out with a get, and then it goes on to ketana bas Yisrael that marries a kohen. She could eat truma, and then it goes on vilu chareshes lo achla, but a chareshes cannot eat because Now, what's the reason? And the reason is because if we're going to allow a person to chareshes to eat truma, again, it's a derabanan. It's a derabanan to marriage. So we're going to allow her to eat truma. So we're going to allow her to eat truma. Then we're afraid that a cheresh is going to feed it to his wife, who's a chereshes. So then the Gemara says, and this is going to come into tomorrow's daf, says Hashem, that's the leichel katan, let her eat it. Katan oichel nevelis, because all it is a katan who eats nevelis. This is a very important thing. It's what's she doing wrong? She's potter from mitzvahs, right? If she's deaf, she's potter from mitzvahs, right? So if she's potter from mitzvahs, so what can possibly what can be possibly the issue? She's eating truma on her own. Okay, so what? Right, so that's the meaning. Even though she's not, this normally comes into play by a ketana or a katan. Are you allowed to let a katan eat isurim? Do you allow a katan to eat milk right after fleshik? All these type of things, right? So memela, that's what the Gemara wants to say. Let her eat the truma. So the Gemara answers no. No, because what's going to happen is if we're going to let her eat it, that he might end up giving it to a wife who's healthy, right? Meaning, and he is the cherish, so she's not allowed to eat it because even though if she's she has regular das, because she's the healthy one, he's the unhealthy one. So then that would be a problem. So Gemara asks, cherish kachas nami. So then a cherish who's married to a female who is regular, leichel betruma derabanan, right? So let her eat truma derabanan. Meaning, at least if the whole marriage is the Rabbanon, so then let the Truma Rabbanon be eaten. Our answer is, no, we're afraid that she's going to end up eating Truma Deraisa. Right? If you're going to start letting her, you're going to start, imagine you have a marriage between a Cherish kohen and a Pikachas, meaning a regular wife, and he's going to tell her, by the way, you could, since we're only married midrabanan, you could only eat truma midrabanan, but truma deraisa you're not allowed to eat. That's a recipe for a disaster. So therefore, we're afraid of that, so that we don't let her have the truma at all. Right? Okay. So Gemara says, ask, "Umayshna ketana de isla kesuba, umayshna chareshes the lesla kesuba." What's the difference between a ketana who has a kesuba and a chareshes doesn't get a kesuba? Right? Which we're going to see weiter in Gemara that's why that is and how we know that. But ketana, if a ketana gets divorced, she gets money for the kesuba. Chareshes doesn't. The Gemara answers, if a man it knows that he's going to have to give money for a kesuba to his wife, then who's deaf, then he's going to say, why should I get married to her? Let's say the marriage doesn't work out. I'm doing a chesed by marrying a deaf woman. I should also be lose out. I should also lose out from the money from the kesuba. Right? Then the Gemara says, "Ketana minolan to isla kesuba." How do you know the ketana gets a kesuba? The tanan, because we learned in the Mishnah, right? A miyun, we get again as a girl who got married less than 12. She was married off by her sister and by her mother, by her brothers and her mother. So she does miyun for hashniya, and somebody is married to a shniya. Shniya is a second level relative, which is also midrabanan. But islandess, and islandess is the woman who can't have kids. And then kesuba, they don't get the kesuba. Right? Havel yotze the get the ketana, but she can go out with a get if she's a ketana, and yesh kesuba, and she has a kesuba, right? But charesha, so that's how you see beferish that a ketana who gets a get does get a kesuba. But chareshas minola and the less kesuba. And how do we know that somebody who's deaf doesn't get a kesuba? The Tanya cheresh v'shaita shenasu piklas. You have a cheresh and a shaita who married somebody a female who was smart, meaning regular, even though the cheresh got better, and the shaita also got better, they're not going to have any kesuba. Right? Ratzu l'kaiman, but if they want to keep their wives after they got better, yesh lehem kesuba, then they will get a kesuba. And as somebody who's healthy and he marries a chareshes and a shaita, afilu kasav la meya mana subasa kayemes. Even if he writes in 100 mana, which is a very large amount in the kesuba, kayemes. The kesuba is going to be mekayim. Because basically, by the guy doing that, he clearly just wants to damage his nechasim. The time of the rotza, the only reason is because he wants to. Halay rotza. But if he doesn't want to give her a kesuba, in Ainla, then he doesn't get it. In Cain, mimni v'loy nesila, because the reason is because he's not going to get married. If he knows he's going to have to give her a kesuba, then he's not going to marry her. Yeah, the island is going to like this next line of the Gemara. So a regular woman, a smart woman, marrying a cheresh, listen lo kesuba, let them be misaken kesuba. Imkain mimni v'loy menasli, right? She's going to get mad. She's not going to want to marry him. Meaning, if she's regular and he's deaf, if you don't let her get kesuba money, why should she marry him? Right? Let's say she marries him and she wants to get divorced because it's not working out. Why shouldn't she be entitled to get a kesuba? Whether she could get divorced is a different story, but why should she get the kesuba? So how come we don't say that? So the Gemara answers, Yoitzer Misha, Ish Roitza Lisa, Isha Roitza Lino say. A man does not want to get married as much as a woman. Right? Meaning a woman want to get married much more than men. Does anybody agree with that? Or there's no comment?
You're saying get or stay?
Stay. No, they want to stay married. Women want to stay married. Men want to get married. Stay married. Tasha says they want to stay married. No? I'm assuming if they want to get married more, they want to stay married more, no?
As
anyway,
Rabbi Leibowitz said, ask any shadchan.
Ask any shadchan?
Yeah, any shadchan would tell you women want to get married much more than men in general.
Oh, so it's a very interesting thing. There's a Gemara also in Kedushin that says Tav Lamet of Tandu Milamet of Armalu, which is a woman would rather be married to anything than to stay alone. Right? So I saw Rav Nevensal say, and what was Negeya to? I forgot what it was Negeya to. He said this rule no longer applies. Women are not going to just get married to anybody anymore. That rule, it's clear that that's true. It's clear that that's true. That women are they're not going to marry anybody nowadays. They're going to hold out. They're just going to hold out. So I don't know what anybody wants to do with that, but that is that's what Rav Nevensal wrote. Yeah. Anyways, fine. Hahu cheresh. That is a story here. Hahu cheresh. There was somebody who was deaf. Tavashivusi de R Malichiyo, who was in the neighborhood of R Malichiyo. Right? Anseve Itze, and R Malichiyo was a shadchan. He made a shidduch, and he married him off to a woman. And he told in the kesuba, he gave the woman 400 zuz, which is a wild amount of money. Right? So Amar Rava, what's the pshat in this? Amar Rava, man chokim kerav Malchia, who's so smart like Rav Malchia? The Gabra Rabba, who's the Gabra Rabba? Kasavar ilu ratu shifcha l'shamshay. Let's say this deaf guy would want to hire a shifcha. Wouldn't he buy shifcha for that amount of money? Kol shekain hacha, kol shekain here, the ikatarti. Here you have two things. He's getting two things. He's getting a wife and a servant. Right? So therefore, of course he'd be willing to pay in order to get himself married off. He's deaf. In order to get himself married off, of course he would do these two things. Right? So I don't know what you want to take out from marriage about that. Yeah, fine. So that it's a servant and it's also a wife. I don't know if you have to share that Gemara. Anyways, Amar Rafi Barashi Amar Shmuel Eishes Cheresh Ein Chayav Asham talui a new din. The wife of a cheresh, meaning if somebody by mistake is mezana with the wife of somebody who's a cheresh, right? So that person is a suffix whether he was mezana with an Eishes Ish, meaning it could be that the marriage is not even a marriage. So then, therefore, does he have to bring a carbon or not? So the Gemara is saying he does not have to bring a carbon. Meaning, so we don't look at it like it's a marriage enough to bring a carbon. Certainly not a marriage of a daraisa, right? So Gemara says, okay, so that's the chiddush, that he doesn't even have to bring a korban. Let's say there's a proof. Hamisha lo yitrumu. If talui ain't truma to truma, there's 5 that are not allowed to give truma, and if they did truma, meaning if they can't separate truma, and if they did, then truma is not a truma. Ve'elu ein cheresh shaita v'katan, a cheresh and a shaita v'katan, a toirim eshe'ena shalai, somebody who is truma that's not his. Va'ayvid kachavim shetarim shal Yisrael, and a guy who does truma for a yid. A feel b'reshus Yisrael, that even with the reshus Yisrael ain't truma to truma. So you see that truma is not a truma. So you see that a cheresh, a shaita v'katan, when they offers truma, it's no good. Our answers, who dama Reb Elazar, the Tanya, Reb Yitzchak, Reb Elazar, truma cheresh, like seite lechulin v'reshu safek. The truma of a cheresh, you should not give, you're not. It doesn't go out to chulin v'reshu safek. It's a safek whether it works. So, Isir Reb Elazar, Asham talui nami lechayev. The Gemara asks, if you hold a Reb Elazar, then then you should be chayev an Asham. What?
We got it back.
Anyway, talking to us. Anyway, okay. So again, so the Gemara says, "If we're going to hold like Reb Elazar, Asham talui nami lechayev." If you're saying that it's suffix, then you should be chayev an Asham talui. Because it's a pasa. He says it's a suffix. Isn't that what an Asham talui is? An Asham talui, I should have explained that. An Asham talui is a korban Asham that's talui, that's dependent on whether you have to take, whether there was an Isser or not. Since you don't know, so you bring an Asham talui. So how come here, if you're misubik, you should have to? So when answer, in order to make an Asham talui, it needs to be one piece from amongst 2 pieces. Meaning an Asham talui, basically, you have 2 pieces of fat. One's chaylev, which is mutter to eat. I'm sorry, it's also to eat. And one is shuman, which is mutter to eat. And he ate one, and he doesn't know, and he assumed that they were both shuman. And then when he ate one of them, and then he found out that one of them was chaylev, but he doesn't know if he ate it or not. That's an asham talui, right? And then you'd have the same thing by 2 women. Right, meaning he goes to be mizana. One's his wife. He goes home. There were 2 women in the house. One's a wife, one's not. One's his wife, one's not his wife. Then he finds out that the one that he slept with was not. Well, he can't find out for sure it's not his wife. But it's a suffix. So since it's a suffix, that's an asham talui. But here, when it's in one piece, meaning we don't know if this cheresh is marriage is a marriage, and then therefore that's not called asham talui. So when I ask, does Reb Elazar really require that should be 2 chatichas? One out of 2 chatichas. So there's a big Machlokes how to pronounce this word. Some say koi, some say kvi, which is interesting because the whole animal is a suffix. It's a suffix whether it's a behema or it's a suffix whether it's a chaya.
Didn't we have
chaya,
that?
The chaylev of a chaya. We
had
it way back.
Before?
We had it
way back. And you explain right? Okay.
Where do we have it? Maybe Yuma. I don't know. But anyway, so a koi is it's a suffix how to pronounce it. It's also a suffix whether it's a behema or a chaya. Right? If it's a chaya, the chaylev is okay. If it's a behema, then it's not okay. Hold on. All right. So yeah. So that's the question. He says a koi yechayev. If you eat the chaylev of a koi, yechayev asham talui. When I answer Shmuel Savak Reb Elazar b'chada palagaleh b'chada. This is almost for teretz. This teretz. So Shmuel holds like Reb Elazar in one case, and he disagrees with him in another case. Right? So he's saying he holds like Reb Elazar that it's a suffix. So since it's a suffix, we're going to say that it's truma. If he mafresh truma, it's truma from the suffix. But he disagrees with him in the other case where he said that it has to be 2 pieces in order to bring an asham talui, and really says it's not. If somebody's mezana with the wife of a cheresh, he does have to bring an asham talui, right? So meisei chamisha lo yitroimu. If 5 don't bring truma, so then that's a kasha. So Savalak Reb Elazar, these are the same cases, same Gemara as before, just the opposite in the opposite direction. Savalak Reb Elazar, the other Reb Elazar. Fine. Okay, so boy Rav Ashi, my time is Rav Elazar. Why does Rav Elazar say that it's a suffix? Somebody who's deaf is a suffix. Right? So why is he saying that? Is it pasha to him that his das is weak? Kolish means it's weak. Right? Meaning he's just not so smart. So what's his shaila? Meaning he knows for sure he doesn't have the greatest mental state. But his shaila is, does he have a little bit of clear das? Does he have a little bit of clear das that maybe he could think straight on Talmud Beis? He loves daita tzilusa. Or is it? It does not have daita. It does not have daita tzilusa. Ula olam chada daitu. But he has one, meaning he's not like we would say bipolar. He doesn't have different he doesn't have different gases, right? He is mentally not fit, but he does have some das. Dilma, the other pshat is Dilma pshitale the daite klishta to lav daite tlusa. He knows for sure that he has a shvacha das, and his das, but his das is not clear at all. Here the reason is because sometimes he goes in and out. Sometimes he's a chayla, and sometimes he's a shaita. Okay, so l'may nafkamina, what's the difference? So the thing is, can he divorce his wife for the get? If you say that he only has one das, meaning his das is always there, it's just a little shvacha. So his kedushin is the same way he has kedushin, he has gerushin. I mean, the same way he has the mental capacity to get married, he has the mental capacity to get divorced. But if you say that sometimes he's sick and sometimes he's a shaita, meaning he goes in and out, kedusha matim mekadosh. So maybe he could do kedusha, but gerusha matim megarish. But how are you going to let him get divorced? Maybe he wasn't mentally all there when he got the divorce, and maybe the divorce is not really a divorce. So what's the din? So teiku, we leave it off with a teiku. Right? Now, how come the kedushin works? So, meaning, how do you know that when he got married, he had his das over there? You have to say that at some point when he's married, he's got the marriage. I mean, he could say, "1 second, I didn't mean." Like a week after his marriage, he wakes up and says, "I wasn't really sane when I did this." So it's no comment on that, right? But I wasn't really sane doing this. And so, but okay, so then get divorced. But you're staying married, so clearly it shows that you planned on getting married. You can't do that by a divorce. Okay, right. Nishtatis.
Can't it be the more simple thing? That the Kiddushin, she's now a suffix ish. So we have to say that the Kiddushin worked on some level. The Gerushin, she would still be a suffix ish. Nothing happened.
You want to just say it in a okay, I hear that. I hear. Maybe. Okay, that's a simple shot. Yeah, I hear that. Okay, so then the shtat. So we said if she became a shaita, then you can't get divorced. Unfortunately, this happens sometimes. A woman goes into a coma or she loses her mind, and now how's the guy gonna divorce her? Right? Some Rav Yitzchak. So Rav Yitzchak says, now by the way, the way they get out of this, they do what we call a heter me'er rabbanon, where he goes and he gets a heter from 100 rabbanon that he's allowed to have multiple wives, and never he goes and marries another woman. Right? There are certain people that have it, that they're really married to two women. Fine. Some Rav Yitzchak, Vartayr, shaita miskareshet, midaraisa, a shaita can get divorced. The same way, a guy can go to a woman who's regularly healthy and divorce her against her will. So why can't he go divorce? Meaning, a woman against her will, she has no das, because even if she's screaming and yelling, she doesn't want to get divorced. He could divorce her, which, by the way, we don't do anymore either. We don't do forced divorces onto the woman. But me'ikar adin, a woman doesn't have a choice. I mean, she has no das.
So then she could be a shaita also. And why? So then why do we say that a shaita can't get divorced? So there shouldn't be, people shouldn't treat her as hefker, meaning if this woman who's married, but she's not mentally all there, and now she becomes free to the street is going to take advantage of her. So therefore we say she has to stay married. So now, Heichidami, so what's the case? The Gemara asked on this. Heichidami, what's the case? Ilema, the Yadas Lishmar Gita, if she knows how to watch her get, the Yadas Lishmar Atman, she knows how to watch herself to make sure nobody takes advantage of her. Nagiba Minig Hefker. So then people are not going to be Minig Hefker on her because she has the mental capacity to defend herself. Ella, so that can't be. Ella Dain Yadin Lishmar Loy Gita V'Layasa. So it must be she doesn't have the mental capacity for her get or for herself. So Dvar Torah Shaita Miskareshes, are you going to really say that a Shaita gets divorced? You have to give the get into her hand. It's somebody who has to have a hand to megarish herself. She doesn't have a yad to megarish herself. The Tana Dverabi, meaning she doesn't have a yad because she's not all there. The Tana Dverabi Shmuel, V'shalcha mibeitei, Misha Mishalach, V'shalcha ve'enu chezeres. You have to do Shemishalachas. Shemishalcha v'chezeres, meaning, and then another pshat is that you have to send the woman out of your house. So once you send her out of the house, she leaves. Right? Here she's going to come back. Right? Because she doesn't chaf that the guy divorced her. She has no busha. So he may divorce her, and then she keeps coming back. I see this. I mean, I said before that a lot of the unfortunate divorces, at least that I've been involved in, is unfortunately a lot of times mental health. And a lot of times, the girl insists on getting divorced, and then she decides she wants her husband back. Right? And it's like with no busha, no anything like that. Anyways, so the kasha is, what is the case here? So the Gemara, meaning can she watch again? Can she not? So like Tricha, the Yadas Lishmar Gita, she knows how to watch her get. The Yadas Lishmar Atma, somewhere in the middle. She knows how to watch her get, but she doesn't know how to watch herself. So Tvar Torah Shaitim Miskareshes, and Midaraita, she can get divorced because the Yadas Lishmar Gita, she can watch her get and she knows what it is. But since she can't watch herself, so we have to be afraid that she may get her, no pun intended, she may get taken advantage of, so therefore the get doesn't work, which is quite interesting. So because we're afraid that people are going to take advantage of this woman who's no longer mentally all there, therefore the husband has to suffer for the rest of his life married to this woman, which means he has to support her. Right? Sounds like a wild gezerah. Fine. So Amar Abai, take a nami, the katani dida. We learned by her, Nishmatis, if she became a shaita lo yaisi, he cannot divorce her. But Gabi Didei, we learned lo yaisi alamis. It says he can't divorce her at all. Ma'ishna hacha the katani alamis, or ma'ishna hacha the lo katani alamis. How come over here we said he can't divorce her at all ever? Well, ma'ishna hacha, how come over there the lo katani alamis where it doesn't say alamis? Right? Elishmami no hadaraisa hadarabana. Meaning one is talking about daraisa and one is talking about the rabbanan. Meaning midaraisa he could theoretically divorce her. Right? But the rabbanan, the rabbanan are the ones that say that he could get divorced. Right? So that the rabbanan say he cannot get divorced because meaning midaraisa he could get divorced. With the rabbanan he cannot get divorced because she were afraid that people were going to take advantage of her. Fine. Amar Rav Yochanan ben Nuri. So Rav Yochanan ben Nuri says, it's in the Mishnah, the Chachamim had said that a woman can, how do you go? What do you say again? That if a regular man wants to divorce a regular woman, and then she becomes a shaita, so the Rabbanan said they can do either divorce or he could keep her married. Right, but I'm sorry, I'm mixing it up. If she was a shaita, if she was deaf, he could stay married to her if he wants. If she became a shaita, he cannot divorce her. And if he did, Right? If he became a shaita, then we said that he cannot, because he can't divorce her because he doesn't have his mental capacity. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri asked, what's the difference? What's the difference between him and her becoming a shaita? Again, if he becomes a shaita, he deaf, he can't divorce her. But if she's deaf, he's allowed to divorce her. So what's the difference? So that was his question. And the Rabbanan answered him back and said, by him, he could divorce her against her will. And by her, he can't. Right? She cannot get divorced. She could get divorced against her will. He cannot get divorced. I'm sorry, I said it backwards. He cannot get divorced against his will. She could. So Ibalu, so the Gemara says, they asked the Shiloh, Ish Pshitale, to him it was Pashat that a deaf man can divorce his wife. And his question is a woman, Idilma Isha Pshitale, or to him was it Pashat that a woman could get divorced. The Ish Kamibaile, and he was wondering why a man cannot do divorce. Meaning, which does he have a Pashat the Pshat here, or does he not have a Pashat Pshat? Or meaning, it's to him, does he really think that a woman shouldn't be able to get divorced, or should be able to get divorced, or is it the man the issue? So Tashamam is the when the Rabbanan said back to him, we don't compare a man who's divorced to a woman that gets divorced. A woman we can divorce her whether she wants or whether she doesn't want. And a man cannot get divorced unless he wants to. So it must be he's asking about the man. That why is it that the man can't get divorced? So when it says when they said that this one is also similar, really he's asking about the Isha. Ella, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is very Rabbi Yochanan is saying according to the Rabbanan Shita, according to me, just like a man can't divorce Isha Nami Le Megarsha, so a deaf woman can't get divorced either. It's cool, but according to you, the Rabbanon, Maishna Isha, Maishna Ish, how come an Isha can get divorced and a man cannot? So meaning cannot give a divorce. So they told him there's no comparison between an Isha's Megarish and an Isha that's Misgarish. Right? Let's second. Okay, we'll stop over here because it's the next sugya. I don't have to go down. The next sugya is a little longer. Okay, I apologize about the connection. I hope by tomorrow I'll have it all fixed up.
Someone who's getting sick, or someone who's getting Alzheimer's, is that called Shoita? Get ill? Alzheimer's.
Is Alzheimer's a Shoita?
Yeah.
Dementia, yeah, Taco.
I probably would depend on how advanced it is, no?
I thought Shoita also includes psychiatric, like psychoses.
He's an illness, no?
But the question is, can somebody divorce a wife that has Alzheimer's? Right? Or can a guy who has Alzheimer's give a divorce? Right? That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather know of a case that just happened now in Iraq with such a thing, Tiago. It was very complicated.
What I mean, how with Alzheimer's or
yeah,
or
the guy has dementia. His wife left him.
Some people
believe it or not, I once had a Reform rabbi come to ask me. His wife had advanced dementia. He came to ask me about whether taking a second wife or divorcing. Why he picked me, I don't know. Many years ago.
He knew you were going to be.
I'm saying it's easier when the wife, because you just do the Etamei Rabbanim.
Right.
Right.
I think that's where he was going.
Yeah, but the wife, if he's the one that has the problem, then it's very difficult because there's no way out for that.
Well, couldn't they do that divorce al Tanai like they did in the times of David HaMelech? I gotta go. I gotta go to Daven. Gotta go.
What? Yeah. All right. Enjoy it. Enjoy the Daven. Yeah. It's a. What did they do with the story?
And it was a complicated thing. I don't know, but Finder was very involved with it.
Yeah, there's not much you can do. The kids are davening mincha now, so anyway, the video's not working, correct?
Well, I see you.
The video's working.
Do you see me? I can't see anybody else.
We see you. I see you.
I see your left
you're a lucky
eye.
guy. I don't get to see you.
Oh, what was your tweet? Didn't see your tweet, Tiago.
What about Rosh Chodesh?
Tiago, what was your tweet about Rosh Chodesh? Yeah.
You can only say Yalav Yaveh tonight if you eat a kazayas after Tzeis.
Because I'll go eat and do I wait?
Why not wait?
Is it Shkia or is it after Shkia? Is it 42 minutes? Is it 78 minutes?
No, you can be making 42 minutes. But
I got to wait another hour and a half now.
No, you can start your meal and then just eat a kazayas of bread.
So if not, I finish beforehand.
Correct. You don't want to put yourself into a suffix, that's for sure.
Peretz, I think you just go eat twice, Peretz. What's the problem?
No, it's not a matter of eating twice. Till I get to my seats, get my food. It's right going to be,
you're at the
Bein
game.
HaShmoshes.
I didn't cop. You're at the game.
Yeah, and I'm